what's up, man? How are you?
Good, how's it going?
I'm good. Show notification.
Are you Corbitt?
I am.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. How's it going?
Good.
Good.
Well, thanks for hopping on the call. I really appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
Like I said, man, it's an honor. I'm happy to help out and just excited to have a chat and hopefully do provide some value.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought what we could do is just like a quick round of intros and then we can get right into feedback. I think it's always helpful to share your screen if you can, because then I can see like what you're seeing and we can be on the same page.
Yeah, absolutely.
So my name is Tom. I am the product marketing manager lead on the campaign manager interface. I've been here for about 1.5 years now. Before then I was and I'm based out of San Francisco here. So my goal is to make sure that we provide the best easy-to-use experience on Campaign Manager. I know that we're not there yet.
Right.
And I would say that whatever feedback you give me, don't hold back.
Okay.
It's going to be nothing you say will hurt my feelings. So be as honest as you can about it.
Fair enough. That said, no. So I appreciate that. And it's really interesting. So I went to your profile to look someone up. It's the first time I've looked someone up on LinkedIn that actually works for LinkedIn. So I thought that was a bit ironic. But my name's Corbitt, as you know. So I run a couple different businesses. Apex Current, I started in 2017. We're a performance-driven digital ad agency. I actually lived in Los Angeles for 11 years before moving back to my hometown of Birmingham, Alabama. Traveled a ton with my previous job and spent a lot of time in San Fran. So it's a great area. So we buy ads and place ads across a number of platforms. Yours is probably the one we spend the least amount of money on. The lion's share is Facebook and then Google Ads. And we place on other platforms, but those would be the majority of what we do.
We have I assume a variety of clients across all different types of businesses.
Yeah, you know, Apex Current, my agency, has been completely bootstrapped from my garage. Got a lot of notoriety last year. We did really, really well for a bootstrap business in its first year, but I have worked with a variety of clients. The business size is probably more mid-range. The biggest company would be, $7-8 million in top line revenue a month, something like that. And our smallest clients are probably around $3 to $5 million annual revenue, which would be more like your local service medical practices and things like that. But we've worked with clients all across the board. So.
All right, so let's hop to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
so you can see my screen now. It's really interesting. So when I build ads, and again, the lion's share of our spend and what we do is on Facebook, and that's what I cut my teeth on. I realized I had sort of this intellectual property, if you will. Took that and started consulting, and then started growing my agency, and things kind of evolved from there. Well, as I grew my agency, I started diving into Google Ads, not only to run ads for ourselves, for the company, but for other companies and clients. And so I'm self-taught there, and really a lot of the digital side and pieces of this puzzle that I've learned to connect all the dots at this point, I'm self-taught in. And so that's been the interesting sort of piece of this journey. It's kind of like once you learn one platform and get very proficient, you can kind of parlay that into some of these others in certain aspects. And certainly I feel that way with LinkedIn's Campaign Manager. But as I've built ads out, and again, the navigation and how everything is contained within Campaign Manager is obviously very different than the other platforms. And I know your revenue model, you have 40% of your members who are paying for premium services and things like that. And so that, ad revenue is a little different. With everything contained, so when you come into the campaign group level, I mean, the obvious sort of observation, I guess, is that everything's contained within this process to set up your ad, right? From the objective. Sorry, go ahead.
What do you mean? What do you mean contained?
Well, so if you look at Google, right, when you create your ad, you set your objective at the campaign level. Similarly, you do the same thing on the Facebook side, right? Those are sequestered into specific sections, and then you drop down to the next level. Google, you've got your ad group, ad set. Here, everything's contained within this one sort of, whatever you want to call it, this layer.
Hierarchy or level.
Yeah, hierarchy to go through and build everything out. Well, to get back to that stuff is not easy, first of all, right? Because you kind of got to go through this process each time and building things out. So when I've explained LinkedIn ads to people and the experience I've had with it, and I talk about the fact that with LinkedIn, it's very similar to Business Manager. So Campaign Manager is very similar to Business Manager to me, but at like this very rudimentary basic level that almost, now that I've learned these others, makes it more complicated when I think you guys have tried to simplify it.
Tell me more about,
sure,
before we go on, because hierarchy is really important. We just had 2 hour meeting on it. So, why would you want to go back? So, I'm thinking that there's, from my standpoint, the way I define hierarchy, there's your business account.
Right.
There is campaign groups. There's a campaign, which you're in now, and then there's ads, which is under step 2 there.
Right.
So tell me more about how you use that, and like, why would you, like, in this experience, it sounds like you're stuck on sort of the campaign level, but why the need to go back up and down the hierarchy? Like, just tell me more.
Yeah, if let's say I had a decent sized budget, and for whatever reason LinkedIn was the focus by my company or the client or whatever, in that scenario, if you go look at, so we run ads on Facebook for ticket conversions, right? To drive ticket sales for a number of events in town. We've done it for a long time now. We're really good at that. Well, the first time we ever worked with the EDPA, which is a client here, it's a state-funded 501c3. It took 239 different combinations of creative along with 170-something ad sets for us to get the positive ROI, okay? And so there were a lot of details, and obviously it was a very...
This is on Facebook?
This is on Facebook, yeah.
Okay.
So there's a granular nature to this, and in my agency, just so you know, is performance driven. So it's, when I go sit down with clients, we're talking about KPIs, we're looking at their business model, we're looking at their margins, whether it's an online retail product or tickets for an event, or potentially a service business and whatever they're selling. We have to drive results for those businesses. And so we develop those KPIs and we build these things out, and we work very, very hard. And I compare it to being day traders, right? So every piece of that puzzle living in its individual sort of sequestered area, and being able to go back through and look through that, audit it, obviously make changes, easily duplicate pieces of the puzzle, but not necessarily everything, is a huge sort of aspect to what we do, and asset to be able to do that. Whereas with everything being grouped and kind of pulled in here together, it's all contained within the same environment, and it just makes it more challenging. And to me, if I were to focus on this platform and spend a significant amount of dollars trying to drive some sort of return for a company, I think it'd be challenging because of this kind of layout. And yep.
So sorry to interrupt.
No, please do, because I'll just talk.
What would you want to do right now that you can't do, for example?
Yeah. Again, I think the most important part of the experience within Campaign Manager. Okay, so right now that I can't do, I think, to me, having these environments, I don't care about really the layout, right? Whether it's laid out more similarly to Google Ads, right? Where there's more of this sort of vertical menu where you can get to the piece of the puzzle you need, or if it's the drop down horizontal within Campaign or Business Manager. But being able to have everything sort of sequestered, and when you're running ads and in that environment, and you've got a boatload of ads and ad sets running, being able to get to those and focus on sort of the results that you're seeing, as opposed to just looking at things at the campaign level or the creative level are all included together. That's extremely important for what we do. Extremely important. So
Can I ask you something? So can I ask you to go back? There's a left arrow up on top. So, this is annoying. So did you notice that we have tabs up there from accounts, campaign groups, campaigns, and ads? Isn't that what you were looking for? Isn't that?
No, because you don't set the goal at the campaign group level. You don't set, the goal, the budget. I mean, you have an option to add the budget in at the campaign group level, but the goal, the budget for the most part, even the ad creative, everything is created within campaigns, underneath campaigns, and so that's where it lives. And so, and again, I'm one person. You might talk to other ad buyers who think I'm crazy. So
no, this is really helpful. So I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah, sure. And so I guess there's a subjective portion of this, but anyways, that's just something that, and again, I think like you guys have taken this thing a long way since I first, and I haven't spent that much time on it since I started spending time on it. And I think the idea was, or maybe it wasn't, but it was to simplify this process. So maybe for someone who is stepping in who's never done it before, this might be amazing compared to Business Manager or Google Ads, where those menu options are, it's like going to a restaurant where it's like you're looking at a book and you don't know what to order, right? Here, it's simplified.
It's a little more simple. So more like you, I think it sounds like your ad setup is pretty complicated. And
for better or worse.
This layered structure is still not working for you because there's something you want to do at this view here that you're on. So there's two views. There's a reporting view, which you see here with the tabs.
Right.
And then there's the creation view, which was the previous view, right?
Yep.
And so it sounds to me, correct me if I'm wrong, you want to do something more here in this reporting view, but you're not able to.
Yeah.
And you're having to rely on the other view where you're creating to do stuff. Is that right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think, so again, I can go in and show you some ad accounts on Facebook and Business Manager. I'm happy to do that. But I think about, I haven't done anything to that level on LinkedIn, but I think about if I were to do that and how I would even keep myself organized and optimize those ads because the environment is set up the way that it is, and it'd be really challenging to do,
Could you show me what you do on Facebook? I just want to understand what you're doing there that you can't do here, so that I can system allow you to do. So this is incredibly helpful.
Yeah, no doubt. And we have so much to choose from, and we have a lot going on, so it gets messy. This account, not necessarily a significant spend, but this is one where we ran a number of different ad iterations, targeted a number of different audiences to get that to that positive ROI, right? So you've got however many campaigns in here, 75 campaigns, and those are set up based off different goals. Most of them are conversion goals and then retargeting based on the level that individual or interested prospect landed on. You've got 328 ad sets, and then you've got 438 ads. And they're largely, this account's largely been based around that event that I mentioned. And so when you look at Campaign Manager, from what I'm seeing, and I almost feel like Campaign Group is not needed, because you're not setting a goal. You're not doing anything other than, you can set the dates, you have an option to set the budget, but there's really nothing else there's not a reason there. Maybe it's an organization purpose or something. Here, I'm setting my goal always at the campaign level. I can now, and they're moving over to budget optimization, so all budgets in September will roll over to all being set at the campaign level, but I can still choose to do it at campaign level. I can do that at the ad set level. The ad set level, right, I'm selecting all my targeting, whether those are custom audiences, whether those are interests, behaviors, whatever. I'm setting the budget, I'm selecting my placement, and then at the ad level, it's just simply the creative. And so I explain it like if so, did you ever watch the show Mad Men? Don Draper, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So the campaign, the goal, right? He's working with Lucky Strike cigarettes. What do they want them to do? They want them to buy the pack of cigarettes, right? The ad set is where they're going to place the billboard, or the magazine they're going to put the ad in, and then the ad is the actual just creative wherever that's going. Yeah. And so like it's to me, that's how I kind of think about the business manager and ads manager specifically, and how they've structured this.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. So
sure. Why
is it important to set the objective for you at the campaign level? Why can't campaigns be, for example,
say that one more time? You broke up on the last part.
Different retargeting or different objectives. Yeah, like why set the objective at the campaign level? So if we had LinkedIn actually set objectives at the campaign groups level, which is equivalent to the campaign level on Facebook, right?
Right.
What would that do for you? Like, what would be the advantage of that?
If you're going to run, and I'm just trying to think through scenarios, typically, I'm going to run a number of different campaign goals potentially, and then I've got multiple ad sets within each of those campaigns, and then multiple ads within each ad. So it kind of, it's kind of this cascading effect, right? And so when I think about here, all I'm doing at this point is, it's very minimal at the campaign level, and then all of that is going into the campaign group. Well, I've got to replicate and go through that process every single time at the campaign level, and I shouldn't have to do that to change my goal. So that's kind of my thought. If I think about setting goal and having things sequestered and kind of pointing in this one sort of strategic area, and I have multiple of those, and then so it just it would create some challenges, and it does, because when I first started kind of offering this to clients and doing it, it was and then again, it's not your fault, it's user error, but it was a frustrating process because I couldn't get the ads out and create everything as quickly as I'm used to in other scenarios. One part, and again, part of that user error, I'm used to that environment, but two, because this process, when you get into campaigns, that's really like everything you need right there until you start looking at results and tracking, and then you've got the rest of this. But you'd have to go through that each time, where you're able to duplicate pieces of that puzzle separately because they're siloed in the other ad servers. So
setting the objectives at the campaign groups level will make it easier for you to create more campaigns, because you don't need to keep reproducing and keep saying, hey, I want a website business campaign or a conversion campaign. You can just click it. You can just create more campaigns easily once you've got the objective set at the groups level, it sounds like.
Absolutely. And because, theoretically, right? And when I create all of my audiences at the campaign level on platforms, I typically name them the audience type. So if it's an interest or behavior-based audience, I'll name it the audience type, and then I'll name it the goal, right? That's all it is. I don't name it the spring bathing suit campaign, right? It's the specific interest, so it's SI conversions. And so every goal that is the same, as long as it's equivalent, I run out of that campaign that I've set up. And then I can set different groups of interests within each ad set level. Whereas, if I set it up here, again, you're just replicating that process over and over.
Okay, got it. And does it help you from a reporting standpoint to have things at the campaign groups level, objectives set at the campaign groups level?
I think so, especially when it comes to split testing and looking at an ad set's performance, and then going to, because you might have multiple ad sets running that have multiple ads in them. You optimize that best performing ad set, and then you move down to the ad level and you optimize the best performing ad within that ad set.
Got it. Okay, no, that's super helpful. So,
good.
So we have 4 minutes, and
Sure.
I'm happy to stay longer. So
I'm on your time.
But this was a really important conversation because I just
Yeah.
had it to our conversation with engineers and product about this. So anything else on this hack? So Matt, you think that campaign groups are just a necessary thing, which we've heard.
Yeah.
And that if we were able to set objectives at the campaign groups level, for a client like you who has to set up multiple hundreds of ad sets or campaigns in our case, and ads underneath, it would just help organize more and get campaigns created faster.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's about efficiencies.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
and I think, yeah, those would be the main points. I was going to say, so when you save a targeted, not a matched audience, when you save an audience that you set up, where do you go to get to that? And I'm asking you that because with this and with as much, as many ads, the type of volume that we run, we have to be incredibly organized. And again, I don't do this in LinkedIn, but I can go and I can name those and I can organize all my audiences and they live in an environment. Here, I see the matched audiences, so maybe you're just telling me where to go, but like if I create and save audiences, I typically only see those when I'm creating that actual campaign, when I click saved audiences. Do those live somewhere else?
I think that's where you have to go.
Okay.
I'm a little embarrassed because I don't know.
That's okay. And the suggestion.
This is another question that we get quite a bit is, I don't know how to save an audience. But for me, when you go to create campaign, right after you've selected your audiences, you can actually, there's a save button.
Yeah, that's relatively straightforward. To me, it's just where do they live other than that area, right?
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so I'm going to take notes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah, and then and my last thing would be, and again, this could be a business model thing, but obviously your most valuable sort of product, right, is time on the platform.
Correct.
Your time is a lot less, significantly less than a Facebook, Instagram, et cetera, just statistically. And so it seems like the ad goals to me are not optimized to get people to leave, right? Like it seems to me
People to what?
You don't want people to leave the platform. Like you want the experience and the user when they're there for everything to happen in a native sort of environment and process.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
Running conversion ads like you would on another platform that gets plenty of traffic, has plenty of user time on those platforms, they don't give a crap if people are clicking off, and that optimizes well. But here, you look at the click-through rate, you look at clicks, things like that. It seems like running more goals that stay on platform are always going to perform better than those that drive them off. But for the ones that drive them off, a lot of times those are those valuable actions that we want. And so anyways, just more of an observation than anything is that, and that's something that I've noticed. That said, when someone does click and go, the intent is very high. So the front end metrics might look really, really poor compared to other platforms, but the people that actually do visit and click the ads seem to have a lot higher intent than some of these other platforms.
Yeah. So let me just back up. So when you said you want people to, basically you said, hey, I want conversions. We're getting lots of clicks. So one thing, so are you saying that conversions as a goal is missing? Is that what you're reacting to? Or?
No. It's there.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem to work that well. So
conversions don't work well.
Conversions, clicks, anything don't. I mean, if you look at, I typically, I mean, it really depends.
It's overall performance.
Yeah.
So across the board, across the funnel is not high.
And what I'm saying is, it seems to me that you guys are, the algorithm or however you guys have built this out is preferring native goals as opposed to goals that take the user out of the environment. And so for me,
So you would have to, if it takes you out of the environment, then you would have to instead of conversion tracking?
Yeah, and all that's I've got that.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got that set up. I guess it's just more of an observation based upon the results that I've seen, and the results and the click through rate is point something percent typically. Right now, you could say I'm just bad at advertising and the creative sucks, but on other platforms, I'm getting 3+%. Click through rate, and so it seems as though the algorithm is not preferring people to leave because that the time of your user staying on the platform is so valuable to you. You'd rather have native experiences. Yeah.
I see what you're saying. So you're saying that we want to keep the eyeballs on LinkedIn
Yeah.
so we have more
Yeah.
eyeballs to sell versus
Right.
taking them away. That's interesting because that's not our strategy, but it's interesting that you note that, and you're saying you that's your assessment because of
The performance.
the relative low click-through rates and engagement that you're getting.
Yeah.
Relative to the
Yep.
performance.
Yep.
Got it. Okay, that's super helpful. I think for us, our main selling proposition is that we're able to target B2B audiences,
Sure.
or I guess even B2C in a very high context and among really influential audience members that are going to make decisions, right? So I think for some clients, it doesn't really make sense if, like, let's say your revenue per conversion is less than, I don't know, like the value of a conversion is less than $1,000 or something like that, right? It doesn't.
Sure.
It doesn't make sense because we're not like the sweet spot, right?
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. Yeah.
The amount, as you saw by the performance, your cost per leads and everything are pretty high.
Right.
Okay. Anything else on the campaign creation? Was that it?
I think that's. I mean, I think that's it for now. I'll probably think of 10 things once we get off, but yeah.
Okay.
No, man, I enjoyed it and happy to help anytime.
Well, thank you so much. I think if you have any other insights as you kind of think about this over the next couple of days on the hierarchy, that was a really interesting contribution. So thank you for that. And,
absolutely.
As well as the saved audiences. That was really helpful, man.
For sure. Tom, you're the man. I really enjoyed it, and it was nice to meet you. Okay. All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.